Go.
Oh, it's live. I was just collecting my thoughts and taking a deep breath. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Native Wellness Power Hour. Today is Wednesday, November 18th. My name is Sierra, and I am here with Josh and Shailene, and we're a part of the I20SP crew. And Josh and Shailene also do a lot of other amazing things for our Native community and for I20SP and NWI. So I just want to start by introducing myself, and then we'll kind of go around. So I've been on these power hours quite a few times. And so for those of you that don't know me, yat esh sirbike yaneshia, telpahan nishle, sinjakine bashashin bilagana shiche, sitna jenny chanele, se hotso den nasha, shema a Lynette Adams will ya, shaja a Brandon Bige will ya. My husband is Tomas, and I have a little baby girl, and her name is Hasea. So I just introduced myself in Navajo. I told you my clans, where I come from, and who my ancestors are. And yeah, so happy to be with you guys this morning. I am currently in Phoenix, Arizona, also known as Akamele Otom. Oh my gosh, I need to work on that territory. I'm in my living room and happy to be safe here at home. I'm wishing you all the best wherever you are. Remember, we're still in a pandemic, still in quarantine. So, wishing you all the best. So, as we get into this power hour today, we're going to talk a lot about self-care, where we're at, and myself and Josh are new parents. And so if you are a parent or a new parent as well and you want to hear some tips on some self-care, just keep on listening to our what we've been doing. So Josh, if you want to take it away from here.
Yeah, for sure. I'll introduce myself and then pass over to Shay. Um, so Sierra said, obviously we've been on the Power Hours quite a few times. I just want to say this before I introduce myself. Like, it's so cool to watch all the different Power Hours and to hear all these different Indigenous languages being spoke on the daily. That's something that I didn't grow up with, but being able to hear like Pakani elders introduce themselves, Klinke elders introduce themselves, our Dene relatives when they jump on like Sib and others from her nation. And we have Aani being spoken. My sister and I use our Koigu language as much as we can when we're on as well. This is big stuff, man. And so I just wanted to say that kind of hit me when I heard you introducing yourself. Like, this is dope. This is dope. So Malolele, my name is Joshua Cocker. My Kari name is Konguluka. I was born in New Zealand, raised in Oklahoma. Right now, I'm just outside of Santa Barbara. I'm living with my partner and our two children in a place, it's called Santa Ynez now, but the reservation that I'm living on is actually a village site that has belonged to the Somali people for, I don't know, a long, long time. And the name of that village is Kalawashuk, which is Turtle Village. I was kind of joking about it with some of my friends not too long ago. I was like, never seen a turtle here, but it's an awesome village. And I'm really happy to be here in this beautiful place. So that's me. Happy to be here with you guys. I'll pass it over to Shay.
Cool. Naha. Hello, everyone. My name is Shailene Joseph. I'm Aani on my mother's side and Koikan Athabaskan on my father's side. Like these guys, I'm really excited to be here, to be able to hang out. I feel like time has been so busy that I haven't been able to visit. And so basically, you guys are going to jump in on our catch up and our visit. And I hope that you visit with us. I see a couple people in the comments saying where they're tuning in from. So please let us know. We'd love to hear from you and see kind of where you're tuning in from. I'm just outside of Portland. I'm in Chinook territory out here. Been here for a while. And today it's like not rainy. Well, it was raining, but we're in like a pause right now, which is great. Because it's been messing with my internet lately. But I am excited that we get to kind of visit and chat about what self care means. Because I think, like Sib said, a lot of us are going into lockdown, right? There's a difference between quarantine, social distancing, and lockdown. Um, and a lot of us have been social distancing. I hope that you continue that. Us here in Portland, we went into lockdown yesterday for 30 days. So everything's shut down again. The essentials are open. I actually had to go to the grocery store this morning and shelves are empty. So it's an interesting time. And I think today's topic of self-care is an important one. And I'm excited that we all get to visit. So cool. I'll pass it on over to Sid.
Awesome. Thank you, Shailene and Josh, for introducing yourselves and just, telling us a little bit about what you got going on. So today's Power Hour, usually our amazing Shailene is, consistently coordinating different things, but today I am going to take over as part of some of Shailene's self-care. And I think this is really important in any type of work environment that you have. If you see any of your colleagues going through a hard time, definitely during the pandemic, I feel like this is where you can, assert yourself and, pick it up and give it all as much as you can, as they would. You know what I'm saying? So I love you, Shailene. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today, all things considered. And also, Josh, thank you for being here today, all things considered, with everything going on. And also, I just want to thank all of you guys for coming in and listening to our live today and hearing what us as Indigenous 20-somethings have to say and, expressing ourselves. Each view is a continued expression of support, and so we thank you for that, and thank you for, spending the afternoon with us. There's a lot that we could be doing, and today you are tuning in on talking about self-care. And so I just want to ask the two of you, depending on, whoever wants to go first. For me, recently, what I have been doing for self-care is getting my daily routine figured out. And so my question would be to you is, what is your daily routine and how has that helped you during quarantine and during the pandemic with self-care?
Self-care, daily routine. Oh man, it's in my mind, like I run away back, to the before times. I know there was like this pretty regimented, get up, do something, come back, do something else. It's very different in the world of COVID. For me, usually involves just helping out the 3-year-old when he wakes up, which is pretty early. And actually, something Sib said in the beginning. Sib and I are both new parents. Based on my feed in social media, there's a lot of new parents out there. So I'd imagine there's quite a few of us who are doing similar things, man. You just wake up and take care of the kids, and that kind of becomes like the morning. And then, once they go down for a nap, we usually try to get out and do some work out in the backyard or something. There's been a lot of cool things that I've been able to do, very like a hands-on kind of person. And so I try to make up projects to keep myself busy throughout the week. And California is going to go into a lockdown too. Actually, our county just moved to purple tier. So it's going to be shutting down pretty fast around here. I'd imagine within the next couple of days, we'll start to see some of those things happening again. But yeah, no, it's just working out, hanging out with the kids. I think one of the things that's been super important for me for self-care is there's only 2 adults in the house, myself and my partner Eva, and there are 2 children. And you can't really have really deep, meaningful, productive conversations with the kids in the same way that you can with adults. And I think in the same, like in the ways that you need as like as an older person. So part of like our self-care as a team, my partner and I, has been to try to keep things light, try to keep things fun, laugh at each other, laugh with each other, and to find things to do together. So she's learning her language right now, and we're doing that together too, writing things on the mirror and the fridge and other words around the house to try to remind us, as well as like we're also trying to teach our kids both of our languages. So we use different words for different things. Our boy can now conversate in like real simple conversation in Tongan, which is really helpful. And some words in Kiowa, he only knows those. He doesn't really know like the counterpart of the English language, which is kind of cool. So I think that's something, just like trying to keep the mind going. And then when it's time to turn the mind off, a nice dinner of like, we do our hunting, and in our house we only eat the meat that we hunt. So sometimes it'll be like a rabbit stew or elk backstrap or deer burger or something like that. And it can swing to the extreme, it can turn into hot pockets and chicken nuggets too. It's it's like whatever we're feeling. But like meal times have been a really like essential part of our household, as well as I feel no shame in saying this, online gaming. So playing on PlayStation with friends and family, getting on and talking smack and hanging out, just catching up with each other. Actually, someone that I was playing with a lot for a long while was Shailene's younger brother. There's this hunting game, and he's been a great mentor to me and someone that I've gone on almost every hunting trip with. And then we have another friend in LA, Tech, who's also in I20SP, and yeah, we would get on and play for like 3 hours once the kids goes to sleep and just hang out. So it's really just like trying to reach out to one another. Actually, someone that I followed said something kind of interesting too, not too long ago. Dosh Collins, who's a part of the Native Wellness Crew, and him and his partner have their initiative as well, Well for Culture. His brother Amson was talking about social media and how, he said something that's like, it's not very social. You get on and you just see what people are doing in their lives, but we don't really talk to each other. And I feel like that really hit home. That's been something that we've been trying to change. Sib, last time we were on, said that she was keeping in close contact with her parents. And I find myself calling home a lot too and reaching out to my brothers and sisters. There's 7 of us kids in my family, so there's a lot of people to talk to. And that's really been it, man. Just trying to stay connected, and when we're at home, trying to have like constructive conversations moving forward. So I feel like this topic's super broad, but so freaking important, man. So important. But I'm going on. I'll pass it over to Shay.
Yeah. When I think of like online gaming, I got like sucked in because usually I'm like, I don't have time. I gotta do all this. And then there's this game that my brothers play. Josh, what's it called?
That would be Fall Guys.
Fall Guys. Yep. So
By Fall Guys, but that's a shout out.
yeah, Fall Guys, and then because I heard my brothers, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like everyone's yelling downstairs, and I was like, "What is happening?" I was like looking out the window, like, is the world ending? What's going on? And then
Yo, in 2020.
and then you just hear like, "Oh no!" And then like everyone was laughing, so I was like, "Okay, I gotta go look." And it's like everyone's like wrapped around the TV, and then they were like, "Oh, do you want to cycle in?" And I was like, "What?" And so I started watching, and it looks like a children's game at first glance. And then all of us were hooked for like, it was like 3 hours went by, and we were just like playing and laughing. And so that's been kind of like one of our things that we've been doing together every so often, actually, is playing games together. And I haven't played in a while now that I think about it. And one of my brothers, I have all brothers, they were like, yeah, you should just get a PlayStation 5. Like, just do it, just do it. And like nudging me on it, like fairly often. And so I was like, well, we'll see how it goes. I try and make excuses not to, but I'm probably gonna buy one. So I guess we'll see what happens. I think other than that, self-care, like there's a balance in life in general. For me, because I tend to work a lot. And
So how is that work schedule?
my work schedule is a little wild sometimes, but one thing I think for my own self-care is some of the work that I do. Like working with youth is really something that I enjoy, and I love spending time with them. And Josh and I facilitate youth support circles for two communities. So the Native community here in Portland, and then for Coquille, and they're activity based. So the ones here in Portland, it's almost like a meditation kind of thing. Is like I put together all of their bags, and I'm just like really excited that we get to do our part in giving to the community, and we get to cook together. Every week we cook together, or we do an activity together, and so it's something I look forward to. And some see it as busy work, but it's something that I enjoy, and it's all like contactless, it's all online. And when we do our deliveries, we like ding dong ditch the groceries and like put the groceries and knock and run. And it becomes fun, and we wave from the window. And so for me, it's been a big self-care thing. It's actually happening today, and so right after this I go right into deliveries. But you know, for me, that's a balance with work, is finding the things in work that I love and really focusing on them, and doing them well. And then other than that, I've been really trying to get back into art and different forms of art. Um, in quarantine, some people who know me my entire life, I refused to bead, mostly because I knew I'd get stuck with projects, or it's just like it's so meticulous, and I'm the type of person that like if one thing is out of line, like the whole thing's done. And so in quarantine, I started to bead, and I was right. When one thing is out of line, I start to panic, and I'm like, how do I fix this? And so I've been beading a lot, and just kind of the things that I sketch, I then bead. And then I was like, well, what am I going to use these for? And so I started making like pictures, and for me, I love giving gifts. And so there was a spree of babies, and so I made one for, you know, all the babies. And it's been something that I have enjoyed doing, is creating for others, and just taking that time. And like Sib said, my family recently just had a loss, and so in our family, and we've been kind of reaching out and finding ways to help uplift each other. So I went to my first Zoom funeral, which is weird, because it was like, all right, everybody put yourself on mute. And like every once in a while you hear like a little sniffle, and we're like, you know, who's not muted? And then so we could hear what was going on. And but then we were like, it was almost like we were there because we were cracking jokes online, and you know, just like our cousins would. And poor thing, my cousin had to stand outside with the phone, and it's like snowing. And I was like, I'll buy you gloves. You know, but there's so many things that we're transitioning into this new age and this new time to keep each other safe. One of the things that we're doing as a family coming up, because we can't be together for the holidays, is we ordered bingo cards, and we're mailing them out to our family, and we're going to play bingo online together. You know, we're finding ways to make sure that we stay connected. And all natives love bingo, so we decided we're going to put gifts out, and we'll mail them to each other, and we're going to play bingo together. But it's just being, you know, whatever we can do as a family together while being apart is the important part. Is in what ways can we connect? Because I think about my little cousins, and now I play this game, dang it, what's it called? Among Us. And so they love that game. And because for a while they were like, when they would message me, because they only message me on Snapchat, they were like, "You're sus." And I was like, "What? Why do you keep saying that?" And then they were like, "You got to play the game." And then now that I play the game, I understand. And so, you know, finding those ways to still connect with family and spend that time, so we can keep each other safe, because we are still in a pandemic. Numbers are going higher, and for me personally, staying home is really hard, but I'm finding those ways to rewire my brain to say, I love staying home. I love being here. I love my routine, which changes every day. But, you know, how can I, as an individual, rewire the way that I think about staying home, and just to make it that much easier, mentally, that is, yeah, in this time.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Shay. And I just want to shout out everybody in the comments section: Shauna, Ariane, Benny, Eric, Tammy, Roman, Patrick, all of you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for commenting and engaging with us. If you have 6 self-care tips or 1 self-care tip, we would love to hear it, and we would love to, you know, be a little tiny community on this live right now. And so one thing may not work for another person. And so just, you know, comment down below what you've been doing for self-care. We'd love to know. And yeah, just help us fellow natives. So for self-care and just my daily routine, I've had these, you know, like self-care goals in my head for so long, like drinking more water, waking up early, you know, getting ready, doing a workout, making your bed. And they may be the simplest things, but as a new mom, I try not to put that much pressure on myself. And I've been slowly picking up these habits, and it's been a tremendous help and like experience in my everyday routine. So in the morning, I am not the greatest morning person. I go back and forth of being motivated in the morning, and sometimes I'm like, no. So my partner Tomas usually gets up in the morning with our baby girl Hosea, and he'll watch her until like I roll out of bed, which is around like 8:30, 9 sometimes. And so thankful for him for taking care of our little girl in the morning. And he's really good because he sleeps all night, so he should have enough rest to get up with her. And she's not like a super early bird. She wakes up at like 7:30, so it's not too bad. But the past couple days I have been getting ready. I've been like putting on makeup and getting ready and like washing my face and brushing my teeth. And that has made like one of the biggest differences, I feel, just because I'm like, okay, I got up, I feel productive, like it's, you know, my little engine is like going, like what else can I do today? And just thinking back on this week and like, you know, taking care of my home and my baby, I feel like during the day is when I should really like do you know, my to-do list of like things that need to get done, such as like laundry or dishes. Hate dishes. Laundry is, oh my gosh, I feel like my man goes through like 3 pairs of clothes a day, so it's exhausting. But I love him. He's always, you know, styling, so it's all good. And I like, for, the longest time. I'm like, oh, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later. I'll do it tonight when I have time, when my baby's asleep. And I just realized, I just need to get it done like right away in the morning when I have energy and somewhat like some type of motivation, because as soon as she goes to sleep, I just want to like chill and relax. So that is part of my self-care, is going to try to be, taking care of those things earlier on in the day, and then, really relaxing at night. I want to get into reading more books and stuff. So that is a goal. That is a goal. And yeah, so getting ready. What other self-care things have I been doing? Oh man, Tomas, he's been on several of our other lives, and he is quite the character. He's probably our baby's asleep right now, and he put her to sleep for her nap, and so he's probably holding her, listening to me say this. And so recently he downloaded TikTok and he made a TikTok video, and so that's been like something fun that we've been kind of doing and talking about. So he made this video of him like flipping his hair, like we're on a hike and he like flipped his hair, and like all these crazy aunties went wild for this guy. I'm like, oh my God. Flipping his hair. But it's been a lot of fun, like coming up with ideas and being really silly and crazy. And that's just who Tomas and I am, like in general. And I feel like not a lot of people see that side of us on our social media accounts, because we use our Instagrams for work. It's quite a bit of a portfolio because we are cinematographers, filmmakers, and photographers. So a lot of what we put out is work, and so TikTok is like this, fun side, crazy side of like our personalities. And so I'm excited to see more of his videos, and I will post soon as well. Yeah, so let's just read some of these comments really quick.
There was one that I thought was really good. This one said, need to implement a routine to help keep stress at bay, a daily walk in nature, looking and commuting and photographing also reduces stress. This is like such a real thing. I feel like in power hours in the past, we've like directly addressed this too. The idea of like, man, this is a super stressful, this is a super hard time. It's become the norm, right? Because we've been living this way every day for like months and months. But it's real. I was talking to my sister about it the other day. The idea that like, work was kind of like not a distraction. It wasn't a distraction because it was helping like myself and my peers get closer to our life goals. But without being able to work in the way that we did, right? Always doing everything from home. Like home has become the office. Home has become like the place that you go to escape from stress. Home has become the place that you eat at, all the time. It's just become everything, every part of our social life. It's interesting, to see like, or to kind of experiment with different things. Taking a walk and photographing things around is super awesome. My nephew who lives in Texas, he was photographing like people, like he was people watching and started taking photos of them. I think that might be illegal. You probably should stop there, bro. But it's important, man. It's important. Something really important to note, again, like the conversation with my sister, the idea that like productivity wasn't measured in like what you did for a job to our ancestors, but they were still fulfilled, right? Home life was the same for them as it is kind of for us now in a bit of a different way. But it's just like having tasks that are tied to real life consequences that help you feel productive and accomplished as a person. like if you were all hanging out with your teepee and high winds came and it blew over or something. It'd be like, come on, man, you need to shape up. Or if you didn't tie the horses up um, in a good way, and either they got hurt or got away, they had these tasks that mattered to the life that they lived. And even though we're at home and we can't go out and do all the things that we're used to, or even go spend time with people that we want to spend time with, the things that we do, they matter. They're going to matter down the road, and in ways I don't think that we're all maybe aware of. There's a few people who have taken the time to think about everything, but yeah, my sister said this idea of like life is a river constantly moving, and you can't really sit still in the flow. You're either like moving forward or you're being dragged back. And yeah, I really like that. I really like that idea. Everyone has the stresses in their lives uh, that is that's taking a toll on us, and different things for different people. But I hope that we're finding the time, and I hope that we're finding like purpose in the things that we're doing as well. There was something else on here too in the comments. Every day I face the east direction and the sun. I get centered and grounded. I smudge and make other offerings of gratitude. Uh, I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but I was sailing with something I learned with the navigators I was sailing with in New Zealand. I went with them from Tauranga up to Piha. No, not Piha, sorry. The Bay of Plenty, the Bay of Islands. And they were saying that navigators have to be present for every sunrise and every sunset. And that those who are asked to navigate on the voyage, like on that leg of the voyage, they have to be present for those times, because they have to watch the position of the sun and the position of the moon. They also have to be present for the rising of the stars and know the zenith of the stars that they're under. And I was like, man, that's like hardcore present. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that, but one of the challenges that they put out to all of the people who are on the waka, all the people who are on the voyaging canoe with us, they said, try it for a month. Be there outside for every sunrise and every sunset. Try it for a month and see what changes. Yeah, Shaylee, I made it a week, dude. But I love that. I love that. And give your own purpose to things for that. Do you have to, hold your hand out to measure the and know the degree at which the sun is rising and setting? Is that going to help you in life? I know a lot of people who it would actually help them, or is it just getting out there to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm grateful? That's a good way to start the day. So I just wanted to kind of to put that in. I was watching the comments as we were talking, and I just wanted to uplift and elevate those things. So sorry, Sierra, I'll pass it back.
Thanks for highlighting Albert's comment, Josh. We appreciate that a lot. And yeah, and so one of the common comments that we have on here right now in the chat is talking about depression. And I just want to thank you for tuning in right now and taking that time to have self-care within this conversation. And so I just want to tell you that you're not alone, and that we love you, and that I know it's, really hard right now, and nobody, understands what you and your own unique situation and what you're going through. But I hope you see this as a sign that, tomorrow is another day. It's another opportunity to take on the day with, your right foot forward, and just keep trying your best. And so I just want to share those words of encouragement to you. I know that when I was going through my own depression, I actually also turned to the Native Wellness Institute for help. And for a long time, I wasn't waking up like throughout the whole day. And I actually went to a Native Wellness conference where I had to wake up at 8 o'clock and come down to the tent and, see all these amazing young people. And that was like the real start of like getting out of depression. It's like waking up early. I was still late, but I made it. And so, similarly, thank you for joining the Native Wellness Institute. And that's like one of the reasons why I really wanted to, give back to this nonprofit organization, because I always thought like, wow, if I could, give back in the way that they give back to me, I feel like, some part of my life would be fulfilled. And I have so much gratitude for just the ongoing teachings of our ancestors that are highlighted through this organization, and those constant reminders. We have all these different stories, and if you were or weren't brought up in your Indigenous teachings, this is we do welcome you to watch our lives. And we have some amazing elders and knowledge bearers and knowledge keepers that share every day. And so if you haven't watched any of our other lives, and want to feel that connection to community, you can definitely click the link. We also have a lot of our videos on YouTube, and I know that a lot of our other trainers do personal trainings. If you are a part of a work group or something, we have a segment on our website that you can fill out if you need that extra help within your community. So just want to put that out there really quick as another, little note for you today. So yeah, I am getting ready just talking about that, because I just feel like so much, thankfulness and healing when I went through my own journey that was, and I'm ongoing, like it's an ongoing thing. There's still some things that, trigger me. But that was such a long time ago. It was 4 or 5 years ago. And now I'm, have a family, and we're like working on savings, like buying our house. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is all so crazy. And it was just those little tiny baby steps that, really got me to this point. And now we're in a pandemic. Who would have known? And Josh and I both had, he had his baby with his partner Eva, and I had my baby with my partner Tomas, and we have our little Hesea. And Creator was like, well, if you two, if you four can get through all the things you've gone through in your life, you can get through being parents during a pandemic. Yes. Woo! Parenting during a pandemic. That is crazy. But I just totally feel also for like, all the parents that are out there that have multiple children, because I only have one.
It's a thing, man. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Can I hop in just to go back a little bit? I was also reading the comments about depression and anxiety, and I myself, as someone who continuously deals with depression and anxiety, have been being a little bit more vocal about it, which is scary, right? But I think when we're talking about self-care, it doesn't have to be these massive things or these big life changes. I've had many like moments of being stuck and through this pandemic, really, and just through life in general. I think self-care can be as simple as like drinking a glass of water. Like there was moments where like that was my self-care for the day. And so I think there's so many, what's up Izzy, there's so many ways in which we can taking care of ourselves. I think behind me, I keep trying to hide it, so this is my new schedule. I'm a kind of person who's kind of like all over, and I forget what I'm doing, and they'll be like, do these 5 tasks, and I'll remember one. And so I start writing everything down, and I'm not going to show you because there's even moments in there where it's like, this 20 minutes is for you, do whatever you want. Right, so like figuring out if it's a schedule that works for you, or just making the time, even if it's like 5 minutes of just sitting by yourself and like figuring out, how do I feel, right? And why do I feel that way? I think one of the most like impactful things that I have thought about over this time is that no matter, I think a lot of us, right? I was reading this article that screen time has like shot up, and not only because of Zoom, but we're just on social media, right? And we're scrolling and we're scrolling, and so then I started to think about like, no matter what your following is, even just in life outside of social media, everybody has impact. And so, and what is that impact, right? And to be mindful, because I know that if we're not taking care of ourselves, the way that we treat others, it might show up in that way, right? The way that we treat the people in our homes, it might be a little bit different because of how we feel on the inside. I think that's why this conversation is so important, is that we can only give what we have. And if we have given everything and we are just so depleted, our behaviors tend to change. And sometimes that's when we start to slip into the depression or the anxiety starts to build. That's why it's so important that even if you don't want to call it self-care, just or self-love or whatever it is, just take the moments. Take those 5 minutes to drink the glass of water, to just breathe and figure out, I found a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 3. What can I do to get to a 4? That glass of water might not get you there, but maybe a walk around the block will, or just standing outside. You know, there's little things that we can do to just self-check in. I know myself, like working with kids sometimes and then having people run around, like there's so much going on. I get like high anxiety and I'm like, okay, let me just breathe for a second, like calm myself down, like notice and like regulate where I am, because that's the only thing that I can control is myself. And so what are the things that we can do in those moments to help better ourselves or to help calm ourselves or center ourselves? And I think sometimes I have a friend, she was just on the Power Hour and it inspired me. I don't know if I'm ready to do it. Well, I can't because of work, but she's going 100% off all electronics. And straight up, she was like, they asked her on the Power Hour, like, okay, how can people, get a hold of you, if they want you to speak in their communities? And she was like, you can send me a letter. And then she gave us her address. And I was like, whoa, like you're going totally off electronics. And she's talking about like, basically kind of the toxicity of social media and all of these things, because I think you see it playing out. The friggin' elections brought out just everything, and then you add on like the pandemic fatigue, and there's just so much that we can add the word fatigue to, right? So what can we do? Maybe we have to be on screen, right? Because we're in school, all of the students, but how can we kind of create the environment that is successful for us, because we are the only ones that can say what works for us or what is successful to us. In school, yeah, they regulate like you need to be here at this time and this time, but what are the things on the outside that we can do to make it beneficial for us, to make it less stressful? I know that anxiety and depression are a hard one to deal with, and a lot of people, you always hear like, just be happy, and like that can be really frustrating and also hurtful. But I think just from my own life experiences, it's do the one thing that is going to help you, and but also additionally to that is that eventually things will be okay. And that has rang true for me in my life. And I know there's moments where I don't even want to hear that. My mom says it all the time, like, eventually it'll be okay. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that right now. But it's true. And once I get there, I'm like, yeah, you were right. But I think for me, I hang on to that. And on the really, really hard days, I just tell myself over and over and over and over and over again through the day is that eventually everything will be okay. And there are small things that I can take control of, like that glass of water, like standing outside for 30 seconds before I start to get cold. What are those things that we can do? And so I do appreciate everybody putting that in the comments. And And one thing, Josh knows this, I say this in all of our trainings, and I'll say it here, is that I'll be praying for you. And I pray for all of the people that I come in contact with now virtually as well, because there's never a bad time, you know, to pray. It's always a good time, and we can take those moments through the day. And so I will be praying for you, and for all of us to make it through this time, but also to find the things that we love and to do them more often. So I just wanted to add that really long-winded words. Yeah.
I say something about that too, because what you mentioned there kind of sparked a memory. I think I've talked about it in the Power Hour before, but Siv and I met a few years ago. We actually worked at the same wilderness therapy company in Arizona. And when we're out there, nobody has matches. We're the only ones as the leaders of the crew who have headlamps. There's a radio for communicating to our supervisors in the field, and a satellite phone for communicating to emergency services or supervisors if they're not reachable by radio. That's the only tech we have. And it was cool to be able to go out in that way as an outdoor. So my professional background is outdoor instruction. I often find myself in a place where like we have high-tech gadgets, but there's only a few of them in use for specific purposes. So most of the time you're just with the people, you're just in the place. One time there's this young man who, it was his first week, was crying in his shelter at night. So I went over and like, hey, you all right? Try to interrupt his sob in there. You need something? And he started to have this conversation with me. Eventually we got to the point in this conversation where he said, I didn't know that this is what I thought. I didn't know this is how I felt. He said, I've been high for years. You know, these young ones, everyone struggles with a lot of different things, but for him it was substance abuse. You're just getting high every day, you know, wake up. He would abuse whatever substance he was on or feeling at that time. And he said that he hadn't been sober for days at a time in years. And he said like this feeling of wanting to, it was just so erratic. You know, it would be like, okay, we're fine. 10 seconds later, he's like, I want to run away. 10 seconds later, he's like, I hate the judge who put me here. 10 seconds later, he's like, this is just so much. I didn't know this is what I sounded like. Like, it's kind of scary to think that this is me. And so we just talked about being okay, like where we are, you know, we have this place that we want to be. It's this final destination for the week. We're going to hike there. But right now we're in camp, and just let it be what it is. You know, and later on, I would have similar conversations with young guys and gals and even older people on the trail too. It was just like, you're in camp. Why don't you just do what you want to do? And they'd be carving spoons or asking, how do you build a trap set, or going to sit by the water and writing letters. One time I shared something that was taught to me. One way to help cast your mind forward and hold yourself accountable. A mentor of mine told me to write letters to my family, my future family, my kids who aren't born. You know, for me, it would be to the wife that I hadn't met. I was 17, and that's kind of like a weird thing, conversation to have with kids. But man, that helped, you know. And then so I would tell these kids, and they take the time to go off and do those things, just kind of like giving purpose to the activities that we were doing, and filling our space with positivity, like Sib and Shailene had been saying. I had that same thought come to mind. Right now we're in camp, and there's not really other places for us to go. I hope that we can get to a place where we're not just trying to get by, where this space and time doesn't become a burden. Charlie Tailfeather is a great mentor to all of us. an elder who we love, and has blazed the trail home. You know, he's no longer with us in this life. At the beginning of this pandemic, he said, "I hope I have enough time." He said, "I hope we do something with this time to be able to take care of ourselves." Uh, I really do think that's a really great way to think about this space and time. You know, sometimes when we're talking about self-care or when we're thinking about it in our own heads, it's got to be like, I need something now for this feeling or this thought to go away. When we're alone in these spaces, when we're, whether it's like, you know, isolated, you're the only person in your apartment, or you just here with your partner and two kids, let those thoughts and feelings that you have, let them be okay. You know, listen to yourself, trust yourself, and take it in. You know, counsel with yourself. Do I like these thoughts? Do I like these feelings? And like Shailene said, make a plan to move on from it. But yeah, I just kind of I wanted to put that out there just in case that message wasn't explicitly said before in this conversation or understood. You know, we're in camp right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I hope that we're not looking at this as something that's a burden. Many things to be worried about, many things to want to work on and move forward from, but it's all right. So I just wanted to put that out there. Oh man, memories of the trail. You know, another thing my grandpa said too. He was an old guy. I mean, obviously he was my grandpa. He's a World War II vet. My grandpa Carlos. I joke about it all the time. Say like when he turns his face, his cheeks were so old and flappy that they would like lag. You know, it was like a little bit of a swaying in the wind. You could always tell which way it was blowing. He was talking about this idea of like water being like love, and water being like love, like this. So if you throw a rock into like a pond or something, right? The rock gets swallowed up and it kind of ripples out, but then that mark is gone. It doesn't stay there. If you step on the sand just underneath the water, like right at the edge of the water in a flowing river, that impression might stay for a little bit, but eventually it will be gone. He said that's how we're meant to love. You know, massive rainstorms that come, monsoons in the desert when I was in Arizona. Make your pack feel heavy, make your clothes feel heavy, make your hair feel heavy, like it's being pulled from you. He said, like that's how we're meant to love people. You're supposed to put out that kind of positivity that they just like, they feel it everywhere. They feel it everywhere. He's saying that like steep canyons, you know, like the Grand Canyon, big, powerful, moving rapids that people have traveled all over the world to go and kayak and raft and take photos of and swim in. He said that water has power, direction, and flow because of those firm boundaries, right? Those steep canyon walls. You know, love's supposed to be like that too. You don't get pushed around. People don't get to tell you what to think and do. You're not meant to be gaslit. We're made to feel small. You set boundaries and your love will have power, direction, and flow. He said, you don't do those things, you're gonna end up like that cow tank. Now, Sib and I worked for the same wilderness therapy company. Unfortunately, we did in fact have to drink from cow tanks. Don't be embarrassed, girl. It's okay. It was gross. Just these like carved out divots in the ground with when these farmers put in water in there and it just sits, man. Nobody wants to be a cow tank, man. Nobody wants to be a cow tank. There's like leeches and mosquitoes and all kinds of stuff. Don't be a cow tank. During this time, I'll go for it. What were you saying?
In the road, you're thirsty, you want water, like anything goes.
Don't justify it. It's okay. We had to do it. It was a long walk. It was a long walk. But you know, in this time when we're in camp, I hope that we're doing those things for ourselves. People throw rocks, you know, with their opinions, with their thoughts, with their energy. Let your heart swallow those things up and let it go. You don't have to hold on to those marks. You don't have to hold on to those scars when it comes to you know, setting direction and moving with power and flow towards that place. Set those boundaries. Take that time. If we do that, when we come out of this, when it's all finished and we're able to get back to, I don't even know what it's going to be like after this. Everyone is going to be better because of the work that you did. To me, that really is like what self-care is all about. All, you know, like I said, that wide spectrum of food, those hot pockets, chicken nuggets, to help me get there. So those traditional foods like our elk steak and deer burger and rabbit stew. You know, take heart. You're needed. You're needed. That's why you were gifted to this place, to this planet, to these people, whatever community you were born into. So yeah, hold your head up. Be proud of who you are and what you were meant for. And again, you know, there's a good side of those teachings of moving forward, and there's an average side as well. Like, well, what's the consequences if we don't? You know, I'm the physical example of what happens if you don't. At the beginning of this pandemic, I was joking around with my cousins and my siblings. We're like, we're gonna come out so tradish. We're all in lockdown, be doing push-ups and sit-ups, and be just shredded like our ancestors. I look like a hot pocket. That's okay. That's all right. But I hope we're keeping that in mind too, not to scare us, not to bully us in our bully ourselves into doing good things, but like as we're moving forward and doing things that are good for us and that are right in our ways, I hope we're doing it just because we want to. Like if we grow up in spite of our former selves, another thing that one of my mentors said, if we grow up in spite of our former selves, then part of that growth is not true. You know, like whatever we're feeling, whatever's happening right now, whatever happened to us in the past, it's all right. That person needs love, just like the person who wants to change inside of you needs love. And so I just wanted to add that, but I know we're coming close to the end, so I'll pass it on to you guys.
Awesome. So on that last comment that he had about love, I guess we'll go around really quick, but could you guys share something that you love about yourself? And I also want to, self-care and taking care of ourselves really helps our own, little circles and our own families. And so let's, think about, like doing something nice for somebody in your home and what that would be. So if you want to take it away, Shailene.
Ooh, yeah. I'll start off, I think, with something that I love about myself. Ooh. I think for me is that since I was young, I've been a compassionate person, whether that works in my favor or not. But I think leading with compassion is something that I was brought up with, and that I still stand by, even on those really hard days. And and sometimes that gets tested, but I think still always just going back to that is one of the things that gets me through. As for doing things for the people in my family, I think for me it's also a self-care thing, is like cooking for them, is because one, you have to be intentional while you're cooking. Like if you're out here spouting bad words, your food might not come out, you know what I mean? And then additionally, just my final words, we've said a lot of different things in regards to self-care, and this is not to tell you that this is what you have to do. They're just ideas, right? Everyone's self-care journey, everyone's journey is their own. And that's the exciting thing about life, is the diversity in all of our lives, where we come from, the way that we were brought up. We can take these things and my mom always says, my grandma says too, take the good, leave the bad, and continue forward on what rings true for you. And like Josh had said, that our mentor, Charlie, who we love, that this is a special time, and this is a different time, and it is up to us how we use it. And that doesn't mean to put pressure to say that we have to do all of these things. It's just being mindful of the time that we do have and the way that we use it, and be good to one another. You never know what really is going on whether it's the other side of that screen or internally to somebody who's smiling on the outside. We can always push kindness and be good to the person next to us, because we are worthy of good things. And that also means that the person next to us, in front of us, behind us, all around us are worthy of good things too. And so thank you all. And I'll pass it over to Josh.
Well, I just want to define a phrase. Violence, to me, the sign of violence is not necessarily a hit, but it is a hurt. So wherever there is a hurt, there is some form of violence. One thing that I love about myself is that I strive to have relationships where violence does not exist. And that's helped a lot. You know, one of my mentors told me once, people aren't going to let others hurt them more than they hurt themselves. And he was like, so if you're gonna have like happy, healthy relationships, you're gonna have to change your self-talk. So, you know, having a good relationship with myself and positive self-talk is where that is born out of, that idea that I want to have those types of relationships with other people. So that's something that I love about myself. And I've seen in the comments that our ever-present Native Wellness Institute, who of course is putting on this Power Hour for you now on Facebook Live, has put a couple of times in the comments section about how all of our Power Hours are saved on NWI's Facebook page and YouTube channel. The Native Wellness Institute's Facebook page and YouTube channel has hundreds of videos. This is a media archive of Indigenous teachings specific to our time in the pandemic, where nations all across the world have come together to be able to put out content, to share their teachings, and lift their voice up for all of us who have access to those things. And so I just want to say that if you're like, oh man, I just need some positivity in my life, don't forget, NWI's got hundreds of hours of it, man. So check those things out. And I just wanted to say thank all of you guys for joining us today, and NWI for giving us the platform to share these things.
Awesome. So I'm last to go. Something I love about myself. Wow, I feel like I've just been like such like go, 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 like take care of baby. I feel really stumped by this question. I love, I guess, yeah, the mom that I am. And yeah, that's one of the biggest blessings and most fulfilling work that I've done this far in my life. And I have like a lot of feelings of like thankfulness right now. And so I just feel super thankful and super grateful. And today, for self-care for those around me and my family, I think I will be saying a really good like long prayer for all of those of you that are watching, and for my little tiny family here at home with Tomas and Hosea. So that will be my form of giving love back. And thank you, Josh, for sharing that first part of what you said about the hurt and violence. I feel that really like touched my heart, and I'm so thankful that our little tiny babies all over the place, you know, have an uncle like you to look up to, and you know, it makes me feel really good. It's, I think of like my little Hosea, oh, listening to you guys, and you, Shailene. Oh, I feel so good right now. Yeah, so as Josh said, all of our videos are saved. And yeah, reach out to us on our platforms if you guys ever need anything. We are all here together. You know, we're a big community, we're a big circle. Don't feel like a screen is limiting you to reaching out. You know, help us here, especially if you need it. And thank you guys. I hope you guys all have a good and beautiful day. Smile, drink some water. If I were to say where I started at the beginning of this video, I feel like I was really excited. So I was at a 10. And right now I feel like, oh my gosh, at a 20, at a 30, like just thankful, all of the things, super balanced. So I hope you guys have a good day and we'll catch you next time. We will also have another live tomorrow. I was ready for this live 2 hours early because of the time difference. So our lives will be at 12 Pacific time, right? Pacific time. 12 Pacific time. We'll see you there. Have a good day.